Oh, there's a blue light. Having it too close because that's a bit noisy. I'm going to put mine on here if I can click it.
Why can't you be as afflicted as me? Why can't you be as afflicted as me?
Well, because I can't. It still feels a bit too high. So the idea of this is that we're testing these mics. You're over there and we're over here.
Are they? You sure?
Yeah, they are. It's difficult.
I can't see anybody.
Well, just imagine. Use your imagination. What are you reading?
A book on Kindle. I can't remember the name.
Still Life.
Still Life.
We're both reading it.
Both reading it. I think I'm slightly in advance.
You're ahead of me.
Am I? Still?
I thought I caught up with you earlier, but then you've been out here for an hour and I've been in and you've probably overtaken me again.
Yeah, probably.
We've gone back to Florence. In Italy.
Yes.
When I was last talking about it, I was in London. We were in London. The book was in London.
You're not quite sure which, really, are you?
Well,
if we are, the book are, or
well,
the story
I'm
is,
enjoying it. I'm really
yes,
enjoying it.
yes. It's got that nice quality of. I don't know. I think the description of scenes and places, especially with the move back to Italy, sort of gets me thinking around what I might be missing sitting here in France slightly, which is nice, you know, because I think everybody, you see scenes in your head, I think to some extent influenced by the past. I guess we all do, presumably. It's just sort of causing me to sort of think outside that box, rather. Which is nice, yeah. Very, very nice descriptions in it.
It is, isn't it? It's sort of, I suppose it's evocative, if that's the correct word. And the characters are good. You know, the characters, you really feel that you know them.
Yeah. And it does remind me of old black and white British movies. I think there's ones called Millions Like Us, which is a sort of family saga, I think heading towards World War II in London and going through it. The other one that came to mind for me is Passport to Pimlico, which again might not be that well known, but I've actually got that on DVD.
Yeah.
That's black and white, but it's I think based on immediately post-war rationing.
And it starts off, well, it is still post-war, but it goes back to London post-war, doesn't it? So I think we do know it's London because she talks about.
Yeah.
You get. It's interesting because because it's our generation. You get the memories of although you weren't born the first year of the winter snow that didn't go away, were you? Because that was 1947. You were 48, weren't you?
A few years ago I was 48, yes.
One of my husbands was 47 and one was 48, and sometimes I worry I get them mixed.
It sounds like you are, yes.
But
I wasn't 48 back then.
No, I know you weren't.
A bit younger.
But it talks about that snow, and it also talks about the pea soupers.
Yes.
Doesn't it? The sort of the smog, the London smog that we know about and remember. It's sort of.
Well, I don't. I remember hearing of them.
Yeah.
And in my huge collection of old Giles cartoon annuals, there's quite a few around the smog. But then I can remember fogs. It was actually coming back with Julian when he and I were both working on demolition. You know, because the tradition with demolition was when you'd finished the job for the day, you all went to the pub.
I mean, topped up all the alcohol that you'd had at lunchtime.
Probably had 3 or 4 at lunchtime. You had a few more and then drove home. But I can remember, because we had Julian's Morris 1000, driving back into Reading from Lord knows where. And it seemed like you had a choice. You could either see the curb or the white line, but you couldn't see both. Yeah. Doesn't seem possible now. I can't remember a fog like that.
Well, I remember coming back. I'd been to visit somebody who lived at, I can't remember the name of the place now, it's the other side of Faversham. And I'd only just learned to drive, so I was still quite a young driver, and I was in Mum and Dad's car that I would borrow. So I drove across up through Charing, up through Bluebell Woods and across that road that we used to go up. And we used to turn off right to go to Canterbury, or you could go straight on through to Faversham.
Oh, vaguely.
I don't know the name of the road now, up from Ashford.
No.
But I drove back from visiting these people. It wasn't Orr Creek, but it was Oconia Creek, on a really, really, really thick, foggy night. And I was the new driver, and I'd got people behind me following me, thinking I knew what I was doing. It was horrible.
I mean, I can remember a psychodrama workshop in Oxford when I'd gone up for the workshop during the training, and it snowed, and I was staying in Reading at my sister's, and other members of the group saying, no, you can't drive back in this snow, not like this. And I went, oh, no, I can. And I did. I got back in the old Golf and trekked back across the open stretches, back across the hills and flats into Reading, with 1 car behind me. No trouble at all, actually.
So what have you been doing this morning? Do you remember that far back? Well,
I've been doing
brain problems at the moment.
Been doing. What did I do? Oh, I took a sack of Ponders chicken food down on the trolley, emptied that into the big black dustbin, set some mouse traps because we've got mice down there again.
Baby, the tiny mice, weren't they?
Yeah.
There must be adults if they're a baby.
I suppose so. But instead of putting the traps inside the food bin, I put them under a canal tile.
Because if we didn't trap them, what you end up with around the gully of the food tray is mouse poo.
Yeah.
So you get mouse poo mixed in with the food, and obviously mouse wee, and that's not good for the chickens. So we have to kill them.
And then brought the trolley back up, loaded it up with some logs from our own. I think most of that is cherry tree or chestnut, which has been sitting out there weathering for quite a long time. Most of it is really it'll burn quite well, I think.
It's about 18 months old, and it was a tree that was rotten anyway. So
yeah,
it's burnt. We've burnt some of it, and it burns okay, doesn't it?
Oh, seems to.
So you've loaded that up,
and then the other job to be done, because next week we've got more wood being delivered, was to clear the garden furniture from over there, where we need the wood stacked. Well, not stacked. He comes in a big lorry and he unloads a forklift thing.
It's a hand-driven, so it's like
it's motorised, three-wheel, I think, or something.
Yeah, it's weird.
But yeah, though he's a bit of a
bit dour.
A bit. He looks reluctant, and what he usually says is his device won't come up the
if it's
the
damp.
ramp, our drive.
Yeah.
If it's damp, I would have thought it should be
I
all
keep
right.
looking at the weather. I must remember to have a look and say to Jesse, don't send it if the weather's wet, because he won't come up. And then, it's a
Well,
waste.
yeah, but otherwise he'd get the car
He's
out
come around the back before.
and I open the 2 gates in onto no man's land, and he comes up there. Yeah.
I've done that before.
Oh yeah, twice I think.
Okay.
But he always looks a bit sort of gormless and reluctant. But we'll have loads of wood there as well.
And we've had Ludo here finishing off the hedge.
Yeah.
So that's all finished off on the outside of the. It's very, very bare. And when you walk down the garden, I walked down the garden earlier, and now he's finished further down. There's great holes in the hedge. You can see straight through it. Yeah. I just hope the chickens don't get as adventurous as our expats chickens did.
No, those expats had no anxiety or fear of
they just went through
anything.
Out onto the main road.
And what did we lose? 2 on the road?
Yeah.
And then
it since then, haven't we? And fenced it. And
I don't know how much of the net is still there.
We can have a look, can't we?
It's black, thin black nylon netting. So I had to put up after putting metal mesh all along there, and then just as I'd finished, I watched the chickens
walk through it.
Just step through it. They hunched their shoulders a bit and stepped through it. And then I put this nylon netting up. But
when I fed the cuckoo Marin again today, she had a whole slice of bread given her. She didn't eat it all. With Marmite on it, apple cider vinegar, oil, butter, garlic. I think that was all. She had 2/3. I was a bit of milk just to soften it all. And she had about 2/3 of it, but she's just getting lighter. So I'd have to bring her in, I think, and feed her separately. She'd have to come in and be a pet chicken. We could do that, but we know how hard that is.
Yeah. Well, we've never really had a pet chicken.
We did years ago. We had Belanomates.
Did we?
Yeah, we had a single hatched chicken.
What did we do? Keep her indoors?
We had a cage. When we first hatched chickens, somebody gave us a guinea pig cage, a sort of a guinea pig cage, and we would raise them in the guinea pig cage. So they'd come out of the incubator, and then they'd go into their next step would be into the guinea pig cage on kitchen paper that we had to change every day because they shit for the world. But somehow we ended up with a chick, just one chick, and no mum. And we called her Belanomates, and we raised her for quite a while. She'd come and sit on your lap.
Wasn't she one of the ones who we were there when she came out of the egg, and she imprinted on us, I think, if I remember rightly.
Maybe, but
we've had at least one that did that.
We had a chicken in the house.
So the pheasant she's quite friendly. She clucks a bit, but if you're standing there, she sort of hobbles towards you a bit and waits to be picked up a bit. So she's quite friendly.
She could come in that broody cage and come in and be fed separately and raised separately. She could go in the utility room, couldn't she? Or put something underneath, to keep it.
Well, didn't the guinea pig cage have a big plastic tray under it?
Just gave away to that.
Yeah.
But the other cage, the broody cage that just stands
bare, free stands on whatever you're standing on, which would be a lot messier to try and clear out.
She is going to be messy, but that way she can get fed up, because at the moment she's not really eating. Apart from what I give her. We must give that some thought.
And the other job is to move those pallets before the wood delivery so they don't get stuck.
So he doesn't take them because they're promised to someone else.
Yeah, who wants them for a cat sanctuary place.
Yeah, I hope she comes back for him.
Well, it sounded like she would.
There's I shared something on Facebook. There's going to be a practice on the 19th of September of an evacuation at the nuclear power station, a practice of sort of if there is a problem. So I'm just thinking, well, that's all very well, but what if there is a problem? We'll all be going, that's all right. It's just a practice.
Are we supposed to join in the
I don't think
practice?
so. We're too far away. But I think it might include Joe. So I know Joe said that she
Really?
would
Is she
be
closer?
given- yeah. They in memorial and where Joe lives, they give out whatever those tablets. They give out to people.
Iodine, I think.
Iodine. So she would get iodine tablets, but no, we're far enough away not to be.
Mm.
But I don't know whether we would hear anything, any sirens if they were going or any alarm.
We'd hear the bang.
We'd hear the bang, yeah. we might notice the clouds are a little bit different to how we're used to them.
It's slightly amazing to me that in Britain, I really remember the whole nuclear power no thanks movement, which is quite strong. And I think I'm probably had sympathies towards it. Here we just live down the road from one and
We
don't think anything of it.
Is it head in the sand though, do you think?
Well, and our neighbour Vanson works there, also being the local mayor. But I guess it's shifted somewhat with the whole global climate change thing, and I'm never quite sure. People are still against nuclear power. On the other hand, it's more carbon neutral, I think.
Mm.
I think it's incredibly expensive to build nuclear power stations, but once you've done that, I think it's carbon neutral. Not sure about that.
Right. Do you think we tested the microphones?
I expect we did.
You were being recorded. Have you said anything that you now regret saying?
Not so far.
You sure?
Well, it depends what feedback I get.
From?
I don't know, anybody out there.
That you said you couldn't see anybody out there, so you'll be...
Well, yeah, but you've made me aware there are people in there.
Well, in that camera?
Yeah, watching. Yeah, watching. Little tiny people, I'm sure. But yeah, that's it.
World,
yeah.
Or whatever it is, apparatus. What's it called, the camera in this world? Something scope? Is it something scope?
I can't remember now. Yes, a little tiny imps who can paint things fantastically fast. Once the shutter's open and shining a picture onto the back wall of their little place.
Who's meowing? Come up here.
What was it? We did find somewhere we found on the internet. People were making models of the.
Person was making a model.
Yeah, of the little inhabited image taking device with imps in it. I would have got one, but they were fantastically expensive.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah.
Are you coming up or just being a pain?
No, just being. She knows you object to her being on the table.
There you go. Be on camera.
Oh, me?
On a microphone.
Me on the table? Are you sure about this? What are you going to do? Hang it round her neck? Meow.
What do you have to say? I hate it here. I hate the humans that take care of me. They don't take care of me. They hate me. Yeah. Is that what it is?
I'm going to show you my behind.
Oh, nice. Is that what you think?
You missed that. Was the microphone close enough?
Yeah.
Won't do it now. Oh, that's nice. You can stroke me with that.
It's not the brush though, is it? That's what you're after. That brush. Right. Well, I hope it worked after all that. I hope they worked. They weren't too loud. I'm worried about them being loud.
Oh yeah.